Cheers, everyone. I'm glad you came back to see another episode of Waxing with Wade. Sorry it's been a couple of weeks this time. I've been busy, but I'm so glad to be bringing you episode number 76 and this 1970 album, Black Sabbath, Paranoid, their second studio album, and considered to be one of the most, if not the most, by almost all critics, first true metal album. Actually, their first one is considered the first true metal album. But this is the one that is most highly regarded, along with the next one, Master of Reality, that pretty much defined the heavy metal sound that would follow for decades. And they influenced bands that followed them all through the 70s that came out after them. They were influenced in turn by Led Zeppelin and John Mayall's Blues Breakers and the Beatles. And this album came out in 1970, recording it just 8 months after their debut album was recorded in late 69 and released in 1970, the self-titled Black Sabbath. But this album has their first big radio song, Paranoid, which I'm going to lead off with because it is a rocker, smoking fast, great, heavy rocker, and it's less than 3 minutes long. I'm just going to play the whole song because there's nowhere to stop it. I don't think I could find a spot. But this album also contains the classics War Pigs and Iron Man as well. And they're all three on the same side one of this record. There's great songs on side two as well. There's 8 songs on this record, and we're going to hear some of 7 of them. Let me show the album a little more and talk about this picture. So the album originally was going to be titled War Pigs. That is the theme of the cover. It was already shot. And this guy, friend of the photographer, dressed up in a goofy helmet, sword, some kind of bright superhero suit of some sort, and it's done with multiple exposures to give that weird effect. And great picture of the band inside here, and I'll introduce them. We want to talk a little bit more about this album. We got Geezer Butler, the bass player here, Tommy Iommi, the guitarist, Bill Ward on drums, and Ozzy Osbourne, rest in peace. And that's one reason I decided to pick this album this week. It's about time I got to Black Sabbath, but with Ozzy's passing back in July, I thought it's time to go ahead and do it. But anyway, this album was originally going to be called War Pigs. And that is definitely a protest song. I mean, it's right up, this was right on the heels of the Jefferson Airplane and the Dead and Bob Dylan and other protest singers from the mid-late 60s. And they threw their own protest song in here, even though a lot of the other songs are more darker, introspective lyrics, a little occult mixed in there. But War Pigs is definitely a letter to politicians, an anti-war song, as the title would imply. That's why the cover matches the song, and it's why it's the first track, I imagine. I'm going to start with the second track, Paranoid. Let me say that this band was tight, and they were great, and they were rocking. And the music had not sounded like this before their first 3 albums came along. Though we would hear plenty of copies and bands influenced by them later, all through the 70s, but even bands like Soundgarden in the late 80s, and then later in the 90s, Rage Against the Machine and Tool, heavily influenced by Black Sabbath. And one thing I want to mention in particular that I read about, I did not know about, is that they were innovative in down-tuning their guitars. Tommy Iommi down-tuned the bottom string, which gave it it's called a drop D, I believe, tuning, and that drop D tuning became a thing. And this album, or their first album and this one, really cemented that in the heavy metal sound. It gives it a deeper, darker tone without retuning all the strings. That's what I read about it. So that influenced those bands I mentioned, Soundgarden, Rage Against the Machine. They were doing that too, the drop tuning for a deeper, more massive sound. So you're going to hear that on this album, and we're going to start right off with Paranoid, and boy, hold on to your socks. God, I love this song. Influence to punk rock too, I believe, which would follow this later in the 70s. Okay, let's back it up here. That's song 2. Song 1 is War Pigs, the title cut of the album, if they'd have kept that name. And by the way, the record company wanted to go with Paranoid because they thought War Pigs was too controversial. They didn't want to draw the controversy, all the anti-Vietnam War protests going on in 1970, etc. So they talked the band into naming it Paranoid, which would be the first single off the album. War Pigs starts with a 45-second intro that I'm just going to catch the end of as it leads into the opening you'll know well. We're going to hear a little of it, and then I'm going to skip ahead a little too. That cymbal or hi-hat, whatever that is.
Generals gathered in their masses, just like witches at black masses. Evil minds that plot destruction, sorcerer of death's construction. In the fields of bodies burning, as the war machine keeps turning, death and hatred to mankind.
Oh, the to this really cool part. Little tempo change and lead break. A little bit more to another cool part near the end. Butler and Bill Ward are going off on that bass and drums, that whole song. That's one thing, and the more I listen to this album, I'm really impressed with the bass and drum on it. Guitar, obviously, and that great guitar solo there too. Okay, now song 3 on this side is totally different. This shows they had some kind of progressive rock going on these early albums. It wasn't all metal. And this song, called Planet Caravan, has Tommy Iommi playing not only guitar very lightly, but a flute that you can barely hear. I'm gonna make sure it's turned up. Flute, he also plays flute, and it's a very, very slow, kind of hypnotic song that actually can be quite addictive. After I heard it like the 3rd time, I was really into it. So let's just hear some of that. Flute and low key. This song is low key the whole way through. With conga drums. Bongos. Hear that flute? Spots on that song, little pops, which I don't really mind, but it shows you that it's that tempo, and it's pretty much that the whole length of the song. But like I said, I found it quite addictive and hypnotic, and his kind of wispy faraway vocals. Ozzy sounds like he's singing through a paper sack or I don't know what, it's got some effect on it, ghostly, I would say. Okay, let's hear Iron Man in the iconic opening. You probably know, I am Iron Man, and play a couple different parts of it. And that's the end of Planet Caravan. kicks in with a different tempo, and it's really cool, I think. Okay, wow. I'd love to play all of them, but those are like 8 minutes on Board Pigs and 6 minutes on Iron Man. So I gave you some of the good highlights, but I definitely recommend playing this album in its entirety. All right, now we're going to hear a little bit of Electric Funeral, another good heavy song that changes tempo in the middle of the song, and we'll hear that. Side 2, song 1. Begins and ends like that, but in the middle is this. That's one of my favorite deep cuts on the album. Maybe my favorite, but I'm going to play another in a second. We'll hear just a little of Hand of Doom. Similarly, a song that starts off slower, or kind of like the previous song, not real fast, and heavy, not quite as heavy, and it then breaks down in the middle with a different tempo. Also found this one addictive a little bit.
What you gonna do? Time's caught up with you. Now you wait your turn. You know there's no return. Take your liberty.
like the previous song, this song begins and ends that way, but in between, you get this. Whoops, a little too far. Oh, let's say it's right here. And then it ends the way it began. So I'm running out of time here. The very last song, that was second song, side two. I'm going to play some of the third song. Fourth song, I'm not going to play, but it is great. I don't like it quite as well as the two previous songs, but it's a really good rocker with some tempo changes and leads. It's called Fairies Wear Boots. This song's called Rat Salad, and what I love about it is it's an instrumental, and it is so catchy. And it's a little unusual. It's only like a 2-minute song. The last half of it is a drum solo. Maybe it's 2.5 minutes. We're going to hear some of that drum solo too. That's the end of Doom. This is Rat Salad. Love it. Phil is going to have a drum solo. All right, and then another 30-40 seconds, we get to the drum solo. We're going to end on this, though. Appreciate you tuning in. I'll have another album for you in a week or two. Maybe have a guest. I have more coming soon. And hope you enjoyed it. Number 76, this episode was. I'll see you another week on Waxing with Wayne. I'm going to let you hear the end of it. And just sit here looking goofy. Man, that Bill Ward can play drums. I'm here to say. Goodbye.